Just when you think things are finally starting to calm down, another situation pops up and gets the entire fan base talking. But at the same time, you can feel the energy building around Seattle right now. There's pressure, there's hype, there's doubters everywhere. And honestly, that's exactly when this team seems to play its best football. The expectations are rising, the spotlight is getting bigger, and this season could end up being one of the most important ones we've seen in a long time. So before we jump into everything, make sure you smash that like button and drop a comment down below with "Go Hawks" if you're riding with Seattle, no matter what happens this season. The NFL somehow managed to turn one of the biggest moments of Jaxon Smith-Njigba's career into a complete embarrassment, and Seahawks fans have every right to be furious about it. This should have been a celebration of one of the most dominant offensive seasons we've seen from a Seattle player in years. But instead, the conversation shifted toward an unbelievable mistake that honestly never should have happened in the first place. According to the transcript, the engraving on the 2025 Offensive Player of the Year trophy was completely botched, something that immediately sparked outrage because fans feel like this level of disrespect would never happen to players from bigger media markets. And when you really think about it, that frustration makes sense. Jaxon Smith-Njigba didn't just have a good season, he became the centerpiece of the Seahawks offense. Defensive coordinators entered every single game knowing he was the primary target, and it still didn't matter. He consistently found ways to get open, made contested catches, extended drives, and carried the offense in critical moments throughout the year. The transcript describes him as being just under 1,800 receiving yards with an explosive touchdown total. And the scary part for the rest of the NFL is that people around the organization believe he can still get even better. That's what makes this situation even more frustrating for Seahawks fans. JSN earned every bit of recognition he received. He arrived in Seattle as the WR3, quietly developing behind veterans while slowly expanding his role in the offense. Then, year after year, he kept climbing. First, he nearly reached 700 yards. Then he crossed the 1,000-yard mark. Then he exploded into one of the most productive receivers in football. The progression has been undeniable, and now the Seahawks are looking at a player who could realistically challenge the 2,000-yard barrier in the near future if this trajectory continues. What stands out even more is how clean his reputation has been throughout the process. There are no off-field distractions, no controversies, no drama. JSN simply shows up, works, dominates on Sundays, and represents the franchise exactly the way you want a superstar player to represent it. That's why Seahawks fans feel personally insulted by what happened with the trophy. This wasn't some random backup player receiving a participation plaque. This was one of the league's premier offensive stars being honored after a historic season. And somehow, the NFL still failed to get the details right. The frustration also ties into something Seahawks fans have felt for years: the belief that Seattle players rarely get the same national respect as stars from larger markets. The transcript specifically points toward teams like New York or Los Angeles, arguing that if a player from one of those franchises had won the award, there's no chance the NFL would have allowed such a mistake to happen publicly. Whether people agree with that or not, perception matters in sports. And right now, a lot of Seahawks fans feel like their stars constantly have to fight harder for recognition. But while the trophy controversy grabbed the headlines, there was another important development involving the Seahawks organization that quietly revealed something extremely encouraging about the future of the franchise. The NFL's Accelerator program is returning, and two important figures from Seattle were selected to participate: defensive coordinator Aiden Dirty and assistant general manager Nolan Teasley. That matters a lot more than some fans may realize at first glance. The Accelerator program was created to help talented coaching and front office candidates build relationships with owners and executives around the league. increasing opportunities for future leadership positions. In other words, this is the kind of program designed for people viewed as rising stars inside NFL circles. For Seattle to have multiple representatives involved says a lot about what Mike Macdonald and John Schneider are building behind the scenes. It signals that the Seahawks are becoming one of the league's premier developmental organizations again. Not just for players, but for coaches and executives too. The transcript makes it very clear that people inside the organization believe Aiden Dirty has legitimate head coaching potential someday, while Nolan Teasley is viewed as someone who could eventually become an NFL general manager. And honestly, that should excite Seahawks fans. Great organizations don't just develop Pro Bowl players. They develop future leaders across every level of the franchise. Think about the teams that consistently stay competitive over long periods of time. They lose assistant coaches. They lose executives. Other teams constantly try to poach talent from them because they've built a winning culture. Seattle showing up in these conversations again is a huge sign that the franchise is heading in the right direction under this new era. At the same time, there's another storyline creating a ton of debate around Seattle heading into the upcoming season: the schedule. Because when you first look at it, it absolutely looks brutal. The Seahawks are opening the year against several dangerous opponents, including teams expected to contend deep into the postseason. There are primetime games, short rest situations, difficult road environments, and a late-season gauntlet that could decide everything. The stretch that jumps out immediately is weeks 15 through 18. Facing the Eagles, Rams, Panthers, and Rams again is not exactly a relaxing finish to the season. That's the type of closing stretch where injuries, depth, and mental toughness become just as important as talent. And unlike previous seasons, the Seahawks are no longer sneaking up on anybody. According to the transcript, Seattle has officially transitioned from being the hunter to being the hunted. That changes everything. Last season, there were still teams around the league trying to figure out whether Seattle was truly legitimate. That's gone now. Opponents understand the Seahawks are a serious contender, which means every game becomes more intense. Every defensive game plan becomes more detailed. Every opponent circles Seattle on the calendar. That target on your back is real, and handling it is one of the hardest transitions for young teams to make. However, buried underneath the difficult schedule is one massive advantage that could quietly help Seattle survive the grind of the season: rest differential. The transcript highlights analysis showing the Seahawks rank near the top of the NFL in favorable rest situations compared to opponents. And while that might sound like a small detail at first, it can become incredibly important once injuries and fatigue start piling up late in the year. The concept is simple. If Seattle has extra recovery time before certain games, while opponents have shorter preparation windows, that creates a physical advantage. In a violent sport like football, even one extra day can matter enormously. The Seahawks reportedly benefit from several favorable scheduling spots throughout the season, including extra recovery time before important matchups against teams like the Cardinals, Chiefs, Rams, and Panthers. That could be huge for veteran players like DeMarcus Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Jarran Reed, and Cooper Kupp, all of whom will need careful workload management throughout the season. Seattle's coaching staff understands the importance of staying healthy, especially after seeing how injuries derailed contenders around the league last year. And maybe that's the biggest takeaway from all of this. Despite the disrespect surrounding JSN's award situation, despite the difficult schedule, despite the pressure of now being viewed as contenders, there's still a growing belief that this Seahawks team is built differently right now. The culture is stronger. The roster is deeper. The young stars are emerging. And nationally, people are finally starting to realize Seattle isn't just rebuilding anymore. They're becoming one of the NFC's most dangerous teams again. If you made it this far, make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and turn on notifications so you never miss any breaking Seahawks news throughout the off-season. And don't forget to tell me down below in the comments, do you think the NFL truly disrespected Jaxon Smith-Njigba with that trophy mistake? Or was it just an unfortunate accident? Also, click the video that's on your screen right now, because the latest Seahawks updates, rumors, and behind-the-scenes news are waiting for you there, and you're only going to get them here first.